Luke Harper, the Ascension, and Cara were all released from their WWE contracts over the last few days, and that is actually a good thing. While many of you may think that that is an unfortunate circumstance, 2 out of 4 of these men will probably go to a company that starts with A and ends with W and do much bigger things. Ty Dillinger is the first person I think of because outside of his entrance in WWE, he did absolutely nothing. He then went on to AEW and has been on to felt a lot more important than he has in his years in WWE. In this video, I am going to go over their releases, what I think, and how a minimum of 2 out of 4 of those men will go on to do much bigger things, and they will be making slightly less money. All of these men getting released is a good thing. Maybe not to them, but in the long term it will be, because on the wrestling standpoint of things, we know that this is great news, especially for a guy like Luke Harper. Here are my thoughts and opinions. Let's talk about it, folks, because there is a lot to talk about. Obviously, Luke Harper, The Ascension, Connor and Victor, and Sin Cara were all released by WWE. I want to say it was within the last 2 days. Obviously, I will not be the first person to break this news to any of you, but I'm going to give you my opinion on it because some of you actually value my opinion. And I think that watching for almost a decade and a half, I have a valid opinion, and especially with someone that does a lot of research and watches the product repetitively, can tell you about this event. Now, out of all these men, the first man I think of is Luke Harper, because Luke Harper has been a victim of almost terrible booking inside of WWE, and out of all of them, I think that personally he's the most talented. He did have an Intercontinental Championship run, which didn't go too long, but yet it was important. The most important thing that you will think about is the Wyatt family, because that is how Eric Rowan, Luke Harper, and Bray Wyatt were brought to the public eye, and the Wyatt family was a huge success. But eventually, like everything that is successful, it has to come to an end. That came to an end. I'm not sure how long after, but I want to say, and Luke Harper has also been a victim of quite a bit of injuries. Not a lot of injuries, but injuries that are serious, which caused him to miss a lot of time. He did have several pairings with Eric Rowan as a tag team, the Bludgeon Brothers, and just the Wyatt family as a whole. It never really went too far. And then less and less we started to see of Luke Harper. And to be honest with you, for a guy of his size and just his stature, he is so much better in the ring than people give him credit for. And I think, honestly, and I'm not just saying this because AEW is supposed to be the gateway to leave prison, as what some wrestlers will call WWE. I think that Luke Harper should definitely go to AEW because it will benefit him greatly. And I personally think that someone like Luke Harper is better than Ty Dillinger, and he will be a huge factor on AEW. Again, you see guys that have gone to AEW, you have Jack Swagger now as Jake Hager. Hasn't really had a match, but he's already felt more important in AEW than he has in WWE. Ty Dillinger is the first person I think of. Cody Rhodes is a little bit of a different situation just because he was going on and, he was given all these outlandish gimmicks in WWE, but he played them so well, where he did things like Stardust and he did things like Dashing Cody Rhodes. He was so great, but I just felt like he was so much better than that. And it's gotten to a point where him, the Young Bucks, and everybody in the independent scene they kind of formed together and created AEW. So Cody Rhodes is another example of someone that was an above mid-card talent that has gone on to be, he's right now currently probably top 10 in terms of importance and popularity, a top 10 superstar in the world. And I don't think anybody will debate that. There's just so many different guys that have gone on and done better things, not even so much then. And and another thing that I like to talk about is that people will say that they were never really good. And the problem with that is that, one, how do you find the balance between good and booking? Dana Brooke is not very good, but hasn't been booked that great either, but she's been given spotlight that some superstars would be rather extremely hungry to have and can capitalize on it so much more. Sami Zayn has not been wrestling. We don't know if this is because of his history of injury or what is going on. He's been phenomenal on television in terms of the entertainment aspect of it. And another guy that I think he's going to be in WWE for quite a while. I don't see him leaving, but you could just tell by watching him, someone like Dolph Ziggler would supremely break through on a company like AEW, just from that standpoint of it. So again, you have all of these guys and people. If you're one of those people that just watch WWE exclusively, your opinion really isn't valid because you don't watch products outside of WWE, where you would see that even though Ricochet's been great in WWE, how great he really was as Prince Puma in Lucha Underground as well. Different guys, and even NXT, prior to NXT what it is now, when you had guys like Kevin Owens coming up the ranks, how popular they really were. And Kevin Owens is, he's been hit and miss on WWE main roster, but for the most part, he had his run in the beginning. Now he's starting to have a little bit more of importance now with the whole Seth Rollins storyline. But just in general, he hasn't done too much either. But Kevin Owens has kind of stayed alive in the WWE mix of things. So I think that someone like Luke Harper would really benefit from going to AEW. I don't know what he's going to do. But I definitely, out of all of the Wyatt family members, I really think that Luke Harper is maybe the best in the ring. I know that some of you will disagree and say that Bray Wyatt should be given that spot, but Luke Harper really doesn't get the credit he deserves, and he moves so much stronger and so much smoother in the ring than a lot of people. For someone that's his size, he's really tall, and he just has all those big man things. But I think that he'll benefit from that. We don't know where it's going, but we do know that as of now, Luke Harper has been released from his WWE contract. Sin Cara is another situation. Now, I'm surprised that Sin Cara actually lasted in WWE as long as he did. Obviously, Sin Cara has not been important. The most important Sin Cara had was, I don't even know, this was years back, when he first debuted in WWE and they had the gold light shining on Sin Cara when he had his matches and he used to do all his acrobats and all of his cool, variously cool and different things. That was the Sin Cara, and we haven't seen him since. Sin Cara has been a known advocate of a lot of botches just because of his ring style, and he has a frequent history of chronic injuries as well. Obviously, they put him in different tag teams, but nothing really meshed, and Sin Cara was never made to feel like somebody that was extremely important inside of WWE, so it does not surprise me that someone like Sin Cara would be released from WWE as well. Again, it's hard because I just want to say AEW, 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 but outside of WWE, there's really no wrestling company that is promoted and consistently put on TV where a superstar could get success outside of AEW, because AEW is really that first alternative. There's Impact Wrestling, but Impact Wrestling is Impact Wrestling, and if you know what it is, then you know what it is. It's not going to elevate someone's career, I don't think. There's Lucha Underground, but I know they have a lot of problems with their company and their wrestlers as well. And then, of course, there's the independent scene, Ring of Honor, New Japan and places like that. But again, they don't get the spotlight that sometimes they deserve. And that's why when you see Kenny Omega coming over from, New Japan and just places like that, some of these people, this is their first time they're seeing them, and they're wowed and they're amazed. And that is because there is not a broadcast consistently for New Japan and Ring of Honor inside of the United States. Obviously, they have their pay-per-views, but again, weekly television would make it interesting. But I feel like, if you want me to be honest with you, if WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, and New Japan had weekly television, I would just be overloaded. It would just be too much. Again, 3 hours on a terrible Monday Night Raw is already enough for pretty much anybody. But again, I don't really know where Sin Cara is going to go. I feel like he's kind of hit or miss. I don't know if he would fit in AEW. Now, I think his style of wrestling would fit in great with guys like Phoenix, and the high flying type of thing. I think that Sin Cara could gel into AEW, but again, I'm not quite sure, because AEW, their style of wrestling is a little bit more risky than I feel like WWE is sometimes, because again, it's less performance. You get to see your family more, and a little bit less money, unless you're a huge star. But their style of wrestling, Sin Cara's style of wrestling fits, but I don't know exactly if he fits and where he would fit. And last but not least to talk about is the Ascension. Anybody that's followed the Ascension throughout knows that the second they left NXT, they have done nothing of importance. Again, another team that I am very shocked to see how long they really lasted in WWE. The Ascension is just, when you look at them in NXT, some of you will say they're one of the best NXT tag teams ever. They were legit gold on NXT. They were tag team champions. They may have been, I don't know if I'm correct, the longest NXT tag team champions ever. But they were just absolutely phenomenal on NXT. And it was just, I feel like out of every wrestler that has made the jump from NXT to WWE, the promotion, I feel like the Ascension were probably the biggest victims of disappointment because I've never seen a team that was so dominant in NXT amount to absolutely nothing. They literally haven't done, I can't think of anything of noteworthiness or any type of importance for the Ascension in WWE. And I think that the Ascension being released is good for them. Again, I don't know where they're going to go. The first thing I think of out of all of these men, I think of Luke Harper benefiting the most from AEW. I can legitimately see that happening. I don't really know where the other three fold in. The Ascension, again, are a tag team. They have a lot of tag teams already on AEW. I don't know if they want to try to book them in as well. They could do that. But again, there's really no other alternative besides the independents. And some people don't want that because to me, I feel like the Ascension wanted to be... I feel like they wanted to be broadcasted in kind of a huge spotlight, and I feel like that they were taking a lot of money because a lot of other people would have just left already. But that is what they wanted, and I do not knock any type of man or female that is trying to get their money because that is the smartest thing you can do. Get it while you're young. But this is basically my thoughts on all of that. And again, and there was an insider, I forgot his name, said that some WWE wrestlers are afraid that that there will be more releases coming, and I absolutely believe that there will be more releases coming, and I feel like some of the guys that are going to be released soon are going to be question marks, because Luke Harper's the biggest name out of all of these, and, Sin Cara's Ascension doesn't surprise you, but Luke Harper does a little bit, because, again, I know he's had a history of injuries, but they haven't made him feel important whatsoever, so this is just pretty much my opinion on that. I'm probably going to roll another video out somehow, some way, and just discuss different types of things.